So let's start, because there are not many people here, so we can kind of get to know each other. My name is Julia, or Julia, you can call me both. So I'll tell a short story about this course, and today is like a presentation day, so you can find out what is this course about, what is new about it, and everything else. So I finished historical department of St. Petersburg State University like four years ago. You understand that historical department, it usually means in Russia that you are high qualified, unemployed. Do you know what it means? High qualified, unemployed? It's like, how can I translate it? What is high qualified? No, don't be scared or something. Just like, yes. High qualified, yes. Unemployed? Yes, that's what people do usually after historical faculty. I also teach English since 2005, I think, because I lived in America, in the US, for 1 year, and that's how I learned English. And so my major loves and passions in life right now is history, especially history of St. Petersburg. I give some tours, guided tours for foreigners, for children, for school kids. I teach history sometimes in a center that is called Sreda. I think you don't know about it. It's like educational center for school kids. So I give them lectures about history of St. Petersburg sometimes. And also I teach English, and I decided to make a combination of this, so combine English and history. And I think it's a good thing because you not only learn English, but you also learn something else. So you are educating in two fields at one time. So okay, tell me this. You know, like I don't know. Do you know your level of English?
Yes.
Like, what do you think is your level? Who thinks that you're pre-intermediate? Intermediate? Advanced? What about you guys? You're super advanced.
No, just upper intermediate.
Huh?
Just upper intermediate.
Upper intermediate. Oh, so intermediate, there's upper intermediate.
Yes.
Okay, so what about you? Elementary? No.
Elementary.
Elementary.
Upper
intermediate. So you think she's upper intermediate? You think that you're elementary. That's how people.
I listen, but I know speak.
Okay, so you understand when people speak, but you can't say.
No.
That's a normal problem. It's not a big deal. Okay. What is the main thing about this course? You're gonna listen a lot, and I'm gonna tell different stories. And so before that, tell me who studies English for like more than 5 years? Okay. What about more than 10 years? See? 10 years, good. Okay. 10 years, okay. You could speak like 15 languages in 10, not 15, but at least like 5 languages, good. Okay. Why is it taking so long? What do you think? Why? You have to talk. What do you think?
I think without language practice every day.
No language practice. Okay, what else? You studied in school, probably in university. Who went to different English courses? Don't talk. Did you go to any courses of English? No, nobody went. Okay, you went. Where?
Institute of Language.
So you attended some courses. So a normal situation in Russia that people study English over and over and over, and they go to different courses. Why is it not working? I think that's like the major problem. We have 4 skills in English, like 4 major skills. What is a skill? Yes, skill is something that you can do. So in English, you have 4 major skills. What do you think? Which ones?
Listening,
Yes.
writing, reading, and speaking.
To the market. Okay. Can you see?
No.
Okay, I'll use this one. So it's listening. What else?
Writing.
Writing. Reading.
Reading and speaking.
And speaking. Okay. I'm not I don't know, a scientist who knows everything about the brain, but I know that these two and these two, they are connected between each other. So, especially that reading and writing, like if you can read English, you probably can write. Or if you write, like, I don't know, if you can write letters in English, probably you can read them. If you can listen and hear English words, if you watch movies, if you understand speech easily, probably you can also speak. Or if you speak good, you can listen. I mean, you can understand. The problem of Russian education is it's very theoretical. Do you know this? It's like, I don't know, in any field. For example, you study journalism in Europe. You go for 1 year to some newspaper or TV, I don't know, broadcasting or something. And you work there for 1 year, so you get practical knowledge. In Russia, usually this is just like you learn the history of journalism, history of something else, how they did it. So you have you read lots of books and you have lots of theoretical knowledge. Russian people are known abroad that they have like lots of knowledge, you know, like they are very theoretical, they know everything, but they don't know usually how to implement it. What is implement? Yes, like применять, yeah, to implement it. Because usually the education, like of English, for example, it takes, you read paragraphs, you answer questions, you have books. So you usually work with your books, with exercise books in school, in college. You do these exercises like раскройте скобки. I don't know, there is no speech. You read the dialects, you repeat after teacher, so teacher says, for example, let's say this, and everybody goes, blah, blah, blah. And you just like repeat after somebody, you don't produce a language. And this is like, I don't know, it's a normal situation why people don't speak, because when they develop only this is not developed. Because this knowledge lies in different parts of your brain. So by developing this, you don't develop this part, never. Okay, so they're separate. So what do you need to do to start speaking? Because actually language is what you speak and what you listen. Okay, so what do you need? What do you think? Why are you smiling? You know. So, I mean, just guess, what do you need?
Native speaker.
You need a native speaker. You can buy one, I know. Okay, what else? I mean, do you know lots of native speakers here? Do you have friends abroad who you can talk English to? You do?
No,
Okay, so it's kind of a problem. Okay, what else? What else can you do?
Watch movies.
Watch movies, of course. When you watch and watch and watch, you listen to foreign speech and you start understanding it. It's like you don't need grammar rules. Like in Russian, like in Russian school, for example, or in university, or in many courses, they teach you grammar, like lots of grammar. But when you have big knowledge of grammar, you know exactly what does it mean, like present, perfect, continuous. It doesn't mean that you know how to use it. But when you just listen and listen and listen, it's like a skill that's developing by itself, okay? So even if you don't understand, so for example, you watch TV series, I don't know, Friends, or How I Met Your Mother, or any TV series, or like movies, or even cartoons, so you watch it the first time, and you say, oh my god, you freak out and say, I will never understand English, because they speak really fast, really, I know they use lots of spoken language, lots of slang, and you just like freak out and say, okay, this is not mine, I can't understand it. But this is not right. So because it's like a skill. So you need to listen and listen and listen, and one day you will understand it. You will start understanding it because it's a skill. It's another, okay? So it's something that you just need to do and do and do to learn. It's not like you learn grammar, lots of grammar, and then you start reading and speaking just like out of nowhere. Okay, so before we start, I prepared some little quiz for you. What is a quiz?
Викторины.
Something like this, yes. So it's just like 8 questions, and you just try to answer them. And that's how we're going to start. Just a second. Should be working in a second, I think. Okay, so while it's like I don't know, doing something, do you know why it's not? Should I turn it? It was turned on. It was working just a second. Okay, while she's trying to fix it. So, I started thinking. So, okay, we're going to talk, during this course, we're going to talk about history of St. Petersburg, so Russian history during St. Petersburg times. When does it start, the St. Petersburg history?
In 1703.
Cool, she knows exact date. Okay, so it starts with Peter the Great. Okay, and so we're going to start from his times, and we're going to go through all the main events in Russian history. And as you read probably the program, each lesson, each meeting that we will have, we'll also have a meeting outside where we will go on excursion. And okay, so we will go on excursions, and I'll finish my sentence, and have a practical knowledge, so we will see what is in the city, what can we find. I prepared a small quiz for you, like how well do you know St. Petersburg? You're not going to get grades or anything, so just try to answer the questions, and you have usually have 3 options. If you don't know some words, you can ask me. For example, what is enlightenment? Yes. Okay. So do you understand the question? Okay. So just write down the answer. If you do have, not everybody has paper. Okay. Do you need paper? I have some. Who needs paper? Can you see? Okay. Do you need paper? Okay. So like 30 seconds and the next question. So which island in St. Petersburg was called an island of enlightenment, or Russian Sorbona? So the island, Vasilivsky Island, or Petrogradski Island? No Google.
I haven't.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. Oh, you don't have a pen. Okay, good. Okay, the next question. What was the name of the first square in St. Petersburg? The Red Square, Dvorcovaya Square, or Troitskaya Square? Do you know what's square? Okay. Okay, next question. By the way, when was the city founded? So May 16th, 1703, May 17th, 1701, or May 23rd, 1147? Hi. We're having a little quiz. You can join. So it's general staff building arc. What is general staff building? General staff building, yes, general staff. Narva Triumphal Arch or Moscow Triumphal Arch. I'm sorry you can't see it. Okay, next thing. Where is the first horse monument of Peter I situated? Senatskaya Square, near Mikhailovsky Castle, or Isaac Square? The first horse monument of Peter I, Peter the Great. Okay, next. Is it not too fast? Okay. Okay. In the basements of which cathedral artworks from Hermitage were kept during the siege of Leningrad? What is basements?
Основные.
Подвалы, that's true. Artworks? Understand. It's like artworks. Okay. Siege of Leningrad, you know. Okay, so you have options: Smolny Cathedral, St. Isaac Cathedral, Kazansky Cathedral.
What does mean siege?
Siege of Leningrad, it's something that happened during the World War II, when fascists came around the city. It's a siege, okay? So the artworks from Hermitage were taken somewhere, and some of them were put in the basement of one of the cathedrals. Okay, next. Too fast. The south border of Petersburg in the late 18th century was at Moika River, Fontanka River, Obvodny Channel. What do you think? And I think it's the last question. Yeah. Do you know this bridge? That's Alexander III Bridge in Paris. And it means Alexander III is Russian Tsar, Russian Emperor. So the Alexander III Bridge in Paris has a brother in Petersburg, designed by French. What is this bridge? I'm sorry you can't really see it, but I'll tell you. Liteyny Bridge, Troitsky Bridge, and the third one was Pantelimonovsky Bridge. Pantelimonovsky Bridge is where Fontanka River, near the summer garden. Okay, so we can check it out really quick and just like talk about it a little. So which island in St. Petersburg was called an island of enlightenment? What do you think?
Vasilevsky.
Why?
Because of the State University.
State University, what else? There were several educational buildings on the Vasilevsky Island. The State University, yes, but since 1727, I think. What else? Russian Academy of Science. Okay. The Kunstkamera, that's we know. Do you know that it was a scientific place? What was there? Who knows? In Kunstkamera on the Vasilevsky Island. Anybody knows what was there? Not only museum. There was a station where Lomonosov, he discovered the atmosphere on Venice. Venice is a planet, so he had telescopes there in this rotondo thing, and he was discovering some stuff of space there. Okay, so yes, that's Vasilevsky Island. What is the first square? Yes, do you know where was it?
No.
Anybody knows? Where the city started, do you remember? Like, in what place in St. Like on Vasilevsky Island, or where is the Winter Palace, or somewhere else? No, we're going to talk about it more, but it started, like, Peter and Paul Fortress was the first building in St. Petersburg, and the city actually started near that place. So it had a small house of Peter I, and all the buildings like, I don't know, markets, churches, and all these buildings that you need actually, they were there here on Petrogradskaya. and it was like the first center of the city. Not like Nevsky Prospect didn't exist at that time yet. And it was called Troitskaya because it had a Troitsky cathedral, a big cathedral. Do you know if it's still there? Is it still there, the Troitsky cathedral?
Yes.
Is it?
It's right near the bridge.
It's not a cathedral, it's just a little
church, yeah.
temple.
Yeah.
It's the memorial, actually a memorial of a cathedral that used to be there because it was burned down by, guess what, guess whom? Bolsheviks in, if I'm not mistaken, 1934 or something close to that place. Okay, that's true. So when was the city founded? Come on.
1703.
Yes, the first one.
Yes.
So it's May 16th, 1703, that's true. Okay, what is that?
No.
Yes, that's Narvsky Triumphal Arch. Do you know why is it there? What is it for? When was it built and in favor of what?
In favor
It's triumphal. What kind of triumph was there?
there was some kind of war.
Yeah. So the triumphal gates or arcs were built for military forces to come through if they were the winners of some war. Do you know what war was this? It was a very famous war.
Near river.
No, and it's Narvs. It's called Narva Arc only because it was placed on the close to the Narvsky Prospect. It's easy. It's the war during 18th century with Napoleon. So Alexander I, who won this war, he came from Paris with his army, and they went through this triumphal arc. Okay. So where is the first monument of Peter I situated? Yes, which is the very famous monument on the horse. Okay, it's actually it's the first monument in St. Petersburg. There were no monuments to czars or any people in St. Petersburg before this Peter I monument. Okay, and what about this question? About the basement? Kazansky? Saint Isaac. The story is this. There was a cathedral in St. Petersburg, and we were kind of sure that fascists wouldn't bomb it, so they wouldn't bomb this cathedral. And because of this, they put in the basement, they put the artworks. Why did they decide, the right answer is St. Isaac Cathedral. Why did they decide that they wouldn't bomb the saint, wouldn't like put bombs on the St. Isaac Cathedral? What do you think? Yeah. But our army was sure that fascists wouldn't bomb the St. Isaac Cathedral. Why? Any ideas?
Because it was perfect landmark.
It was a perfect landmark, thank you. So it was a good orientation place, a landmark that they could see, because the sky above the St. Petersburg, as you know, is kind of grey. And you can't really see, and they saw that it's, you are in the center. So if they saw it, because the dome, what is a dome? Kupol. Yes, the dome of the cathedral was really huge. And even though they painted it black, do you know this? They painted it black during the siege. Anyway, it could be seen from above, and it was a perfect landmark, so they didn't bomb it. And really, it wasn't bombed. Like Winter Palace was bombed, and everything was bombed, but the St. Isaac Cathedral stayed. And yeah, okay. What about this one? Yes, that's true. Okay. And this one?
I'm not sure.
Нет.
Troitsky, Liteyny, Panteleymonski. It's Troitsky. But have you seen the Troitsky? Do you know, can you imagine how the Troitsky bridge looks? It's in Art Nouveau style. Do you know this Art Nouveau style? What is this in Russian, Art Nouveau? I always miss a question about how do you spell it. I think it's like this, but maybe not. But Art Nouveau is a French. I don't speak French. I'll check it out in a second. So don't write it down.
Like new.
Yes, Art Nouveau is what?
New art.
It's a style that's called in Russian. It's called modern. And it was first in France, and it came to St. Petersburg after. So we like exchanged bridges with Alexander III. He made an agreement, a peace agreement with France, and in sign of this agreement, we gave Paris this Alexander III bridge, which is pretty nice looking bridge. And they built for us the Troitsky Bridge. And the company who was designing the Troitsky Bridge is the same company which designed the Eiffel Tower. So they're kind of brothers. Which one do you like better, the Alexander III or the Troitsky? Who's present or pompous? Anyway, okay, so thank you for this. Who had no mistakes? Who's an expert? Okay, one mistake. 50% done. 50%? Okay. 50%? Okay, that's a good result. Really, I'm not joking. Okay, can I ask you for a suppression marker because this is kind of hard. Okay. So the next thing, so I'm going to talk about several. This was like a warm-up. I'm going to talk about. Not waste paper. I'm going to talk about several things today. So we're going to talk about how do you make English grammar simple, how you not talk about grammar too much, and also we're going to talk about history. For instance, we're going to talk about Peter the Great. And we're going to find out how can you remember facts better than usually. Like people study these dates, crazy dates in history. Like I studied in historical faculty, and you had like million of dates and you have to remember everything, and it's crazy. It's violence to your brain. Is there anybody who studies on medical faculty here? Nobody? Because they, you know, they learn Latin words. I don't know. I had a friend. She studied in the Academy of Medicine in St. Petersburg. So she had lists of, I don't know, thousands of words that each meant some kind of a bone or something in your body, and they had to study it, how it's called in Latin. And it's crazy because she just like, how do you say zubrit in English? What do you think? Do you know this word?
Sword up.
Huh?
Sword up.
Sword up?
Yes.
Yeah, and I know another word, drill. So you can, so she just drilled it. She was like, this is this, this is this, this is this. And it's really crazy. It's very hard for your brain, and actually your brain stops working if you do it too much. So you make yourself, you go like down, not up when you drill too much facts. So, about English grammar, when you know too much rules, it stops, it makes you not speaking very easy. Because if you know the rule, you start thinking, okay, is it this rule or that rule? Is it continuous or perfect? So you're thinking too much. How do children study language? They don't know rules, they can't read, they don't know anything about grammar, they don't know this word actually. They just listen and listen and listen and start speaking one day. Because they just, for example, they hear their mom say every day, don't go there, don't touch this, don't talk to this guy, don't play with fire, don't, I don't know, don't put your macaroni on the floor, don't eat the dog's food, I don't know, anything. So she says, don't do this, don't do that, and he understands that it's somehow, you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. And the next day he is playing on the, I don't know, in the yard with his friend, and his friend takes his car away. So the first thing he does is like, oh, don't take my car, because he can reproduce it, because he heard it lots of times and he knows how to use it. He doesn't know that don't take my car is imperative, that is second person singular. So he doesn't know this rule. When you know too many rules, it stops you from, it stops you from producing a language. You're thinking too much. For example, so what I want to do in this course, we're not going to talk about rules too much, okay? We're just going to generalize English grammar. We're going to talk about different parts, about tenses, about, I don't know, models, about, so for each lesson there is some grammar topic is planned. But we're just going to simplify it, okay, and make it very, like, the easier. For example, if you hear many times, why you cannot learn like children? What is wrong with this? Why can't you just listen and then start speaking? Because when you're an adult, your brain is already not ready for this. Okay, you messed up your brain already, so you can do it one more time. So you need rules, but you don't need like linguistic terms. You just need a general rule. For example, if I say, let's use some historical verb like conquer. What is conquer? Yes. A good word. So I say, okay, you conquer, I conquer, she conquers, he conquers, they conquer, we all conquer, and it conquers. What do you hear? What is something? Something is different.
The emptiness.
Yes. So in the school they tell you its present simple is third person singular. Present simple, третье лицо, единственное число. So, and you go like, every time you want this S, you're thinking, is it third person? What is a third person? Is it singular? So while you're thinking, the person you're talking to is gone. Because it makes a long way to think. So all you need to know is, just like, for example, you look at she, and you see kind of a dollar here, because she likes money, for example. Like, she really likes money, and whenever you talk about she has a dollar at the end. She likes, she goes, she conquers, she drives. Well, he and it also go with her. But this is all you need to know, that she, and you don't need to know that it's present simple. You don't need to know that it's third person. You just need to like generalize this rule, okay? So if you hear it over and over, you will get used to it. Actually, it's interesting that there is a British Institute of Language, and they made a research. What is the research? Yes, they made a research how foreigners learn their language. So foreigners learn English, and the biggest amount of mistakes they make, where do you think? Like foreigners learn English, like you, Russians, Italians, French people, they study English. And the most hard place for them, where they make like lots of mistakes, is actually present simple. Even though it's present simple, it's, I don't know, because this S and do and does, it's usually kind of a problem for foreigners, because it's something that they don't have we don't have in our language. So in these classes, we're going to talk about some small grammar rules. We're going to simplify it, and then we're going to work with this. So we're going to talk about this. We're not going to do any exercises. We don't have any books. We're just going to work. We're going to have some activities like, I don't know, you need to perform, you need to work in groups. We're going to make battles, like who thinks that Peter the Great was the great, and who thinks that he was I don't know, a barbarian who killed Russian culture, for example. And you will need to give your arguments for that. So you will have to talk all the time. I can give you a small example. We can practice like one small rule right now. The simplest way to do it faster, I just show you a very simple rule. It's about comparing the adjectives. How do you compare adjectives in English? So you have, so when you have adjectives, what is an adjective actually? Прилагательное, that's true. So there are two rules. The first one is for some small words, you add this ending, right? Is it true? For example, small, smaller. And for to say that it's the best, what do you add? You add this the, okay, and est ending, okay? This is for like small adjectives like tall, for example. So it can be like this, or for the big language, like beautiful or serious. For example, it goes like this. Okay. What do you do if? Oh, I'm sorry. Of course, the serious goes here. What do you do if it's a long adjective, like serious? How do you say on более серьезный? He's more serious, so you add this word more. And if it's самый серьезный, the most. You add the most. So that's for the long word. You also need some small useful words like, как сказать, чем? Then, okay. Is it A or E? A. How to say такой же маленький, не знаю, такой же маленький, как кто-нибудь еще? Петр был такой же высокий, как Ленин.
As tall as.
As, that's true. So, for example, we need as. А как сказать, что Петр был в 2 раза выше, чем Ленин?
2 times higher.
Только не 2 times, а мне больше нравится, когда говорят, who knows,
Twice.
дважды, twice. So you would say twice as blah 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 as. So you also have one more. How to say гораздо выше?
Much.
Bigger.
Much taller, for example. Как сказать гораздо серьезнее?
Much more serious.
So you use the second form, er or more, and add much. Do you know this slangy word for он был очень гораздо более высок, гораздо выше. Not much taller, but или это гораздо более интересная тема. You can say it's much more interesting topic, but you can say also it's far more interesting topic. Or you can say this situation is far more complicated than you think. So you use far. Okay, so let's just leave it like this and have three teams. You together, you 3 together, and you 2 together. Or you can go off. It's 5 plus 4. 2 teams. We make 2 teams. So what do you need? You have like 3 minutes, not more. It's just an example of how you can work with it. And you need to compare. So you compare Moscow and St. Petersburg. I don't know. And you compare Stalin and Lenin. Okay, no, just you can make it fun. You can say something like, I don't know, Stalin killed twice as many people as Lenin. It's nothing like this. So make at least 5 sentences different right now, together. Just you can discuss. Sit closer. You should sit closer. Okay, because you're sitting like this. I can give you. Peter the Great and Ivan the Terrible. Do you know Ivan the Terrible? Okay. So like 5 minutes, not more.
Stalin had much more hair than Lenin.
Much more.
Hair. Stalin smoked much more.
You can also say like люди в Москве, люди в Питере гораздо более интеллигентные, чем в Москве. То есть не обязательно сами города, а something about them. А вы можете сказать something like во времена Петра I было чего-нибудь меньше или больше, чем во времена Ивана Грозного. То есть не обязательно конкретно внешность сравнивать, хотя внешность тоже интересно. So make like
Stalin's mustache
was thicker.
bigger.
Thicker, you would say. Гуще. Green, it's simple.
Much.
So more greener, это скорее более зеленее, а просто зеленее.
No, without more. Much.
Greener, you don't need more. Because it's small. You should say something bad about Moscow. Сталин был грузинее, чем Ленин.
Who knows?
Come on. Produce. It can be nonsense. It's okay.
What Lenin was.
Educated. Интеллигентные.
Stalin was more military than the military. Да.
Это еще вопрос. Не расстреливаем частную семью.
Так что
Сталин was younger.
Снег был более жестоким, выше, ниже.
кто из них больше правил разрушил нашу страну?
Okay, 1 minute. Okay, let's finish. Let's just finish. So, tell us what you have. Everybody finish. It's just fun. So, what do you have? What are your sentences?
The streets at St. Petersburg is beautiful than Moscow.
Более красивые.
More beautiful than Moscow.
Than in Moscow. So, streets in St. Petersburg are more beautiful than in Moscow. Okay, girls, what do you have?
Peter the Great was less cruel than Ivan the Terrible.
He was less cruel. It's a question, actually. Maybe not. But he was less cruel. What is a cruel? Cruel. Huh? Yes, that's true. So they say that Peter the Great was less cruel than Ivan the Terrible. Okay, your examples.
Stalin smoked much more than Lenin.
Smoke?
Smoke? No.
He is dead. There is no more Stalin, so you can't use present. You use past. He smoked.
Smoke.
What did he smoke? How do you call this thing?
Pipe.
So he smoked much more than Lenin. Okay. What did he smoke? That's the question. Okay, one more.
In Petersburg, have
St. Petersburg
some
has
more, больше
more
rivers
rivers
than Moscow.
than Moscow. Okay. Girls, you have one more.
During the reign of Peter the Great, people became much more European than during the reign of Ivan the Terrible.
Okay, that's perfect. I mean, no mistakes. Cool. Your sentence? What about mustache? What did you say? Oh, just anything.
Okay.
Come on.
Stalin's mustache was much thicker than Lenin's mustache.
Okay. Is it true? Yes, I think so. Because Stalin is from Georgia. Okay. The next thing we're gonna talk about. So this is just an example. So whenever we're gonna have like any grammatical topic, we're gonna have some different tasks. They will be different. You will need to organize some performance, work in pairs, do battles, as I told. So for each topic, we will have some different tasks. Okay. So how do you? How do you remember words? How can you memorize words in English? Or sequences of something? What is a sequence? Yes. So how can you remember it usually? Like, do you know in schools or something that they sell? I mean, not in schools they sell in stores special notebooks with 3 columns for learning English words. It's called слово, транскрипция, перевод. And you write down like 100 or 200 words. Did you do this? Who did this? How did it work? Did you learn all of them? Why? The answer is very simple. We're going to talk also about this on the lessons more deep, but the main thing is that in your brain you have different neurons, and they have connections in your brain. So whenever you hear some word in Russian, your connection goes to a picture. For example, if I say behemoth, you all have a picture of some kind of animal, right? Who has a picture of a small, cute, purple, smiling behemoth? Anybody has it? Because usually people have this picture in their mind because it's the first time they've seen this animal in the small book with letters or something. Because usually people don't have this image of a dirty, big animal. You've watched too much of Discovery Channel in childhood, probably. So you have your first associations you have in mind. When I say behemoth, you have this. When I say table, you have an image of your favorite table or the table that you've seen the first time or something like this. What if I say ambivalentность? What image? If you have no image to this word, it means what? What does it mean?
It's abstract word.
It's abstract, and maybe you don't really know what does it mean. Okay? So, for example, if I say something more scientific like diffusia, do you have an image? I have a tea bag in the teacup with hot water when it's like gets brown and brown. But when you hear English words, you don't have this connection. So you hear curious, I mean you speak English, but or circumstances, and you don't have this image in your head, because all the time that you hear table, you have this image. Or you see a table and the connection goes, okay, this is table, it goes to the picture. So this is how the brain works. And when you drill automatically, it's just a violence for your brain, because you don't make it natural, okay? There are several ways to make it more natural for learning. They are introduced by many scientists of language, and so basic ways, there are two basic ways. You need to make associations to the words. For example, let's say the word curious. Everybody knows what it means, right? For example, Peter the Great was a really curious boy when he was small. What is curious? Yes. How can you remember this? You need to make association to Russian language. So I'll just give you an example. For example, for me, it sounds like I hear two words, kura. Yeah, I hear iOS. It's like Apple iPhone, you know, iOS system. It's just for me. You can have your own association. So what do I imagine? I imagine a chicken. And you need to make association with Russian words, because Russian is your own language. So I imagine the chicken who looks very curiously on the iPhone, and it's called iOS. So you write it on the card. You write любопытный, then you write on the back curious. This is this way. So you write curious, and you imagine this chicken who's like, oh, what is this in iOS? Whenever you next time, so you do this with at least 40 words. Next time that you go and you see любопытный, I promise you, you will remember this kuritsy who looks to iOS, and you will remember kura, iOS. You will remember this word, because you will say it actually. The other way is to make stories with associations, and you can use it not only learning English but also learning dates, some information, phone numbers. I don't know, anything like this. Let's make a short practice. Imagine, you can close your eyes if it's easier for you, or it's up to you. So imagine we're going to remember the sequence of planets in the universe. How many planets are there? 8. Okay, so let's remember the sequence by using this association method. Imagine you can close your eyes as you wish. So imagine the hot, burning sphere. And you feel how it's hot, you feel it on your cheeks, and it has flames, and it has tongues of flames, and you see how everything is moving around, and it's like, it's getting bigger and bigger. So you imagine this, and you feel the warmth from this burning sphere. And then it's silence, everything else is dark, and then you hear something like, show must go on. And you hear it more and more, show must go on, and then here comes Freddie Mercury. And he holds something in his hand, and it's Mercury, of course, this planet. So, and he goes like, show must go on, and he just throws this small sphere, small planet, and it goes to the circle around the sun. And you see this, and then after the Freddie Mercury comes a pretty woman, and she has some pink spherical object in her arm, and her name is Venice. And so what does she do? She also throws this sphere around this burning thing. So they go around, but then suddenly this Venus, this little sphere, falls down, and it falls down on the Earth. And you see it's on the Earth. So it's the third planet, Earth. But then you look up and you see yourself on Marsova field. And so you're in St. Petersburg, and then you're standing on Marsova field. So that's the fourth planet, Mars, and You know who is Mars? He's a god of war. And the second god of war is Jupiter. So it's Greek and Roman. So you see how from Mars field walks the Jupiter, also the god of war. And he has a jacket. And on the jacket he has a word sun, S-U-N. That's called Saturn, Uranus.